Hallelujah. 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 That is the ultimate acknowledging of Almighty Yah when we decry from our bosom, Hallel. The greatest of all honors goes unto him for his mighty and great excellence that has been revealed unto Yisrael in the power, the demonstration of Yahshua HaMashiach, to give us the assurance that only by the Torah of Yah that we can live and that we can see the brightness of his promises in the living Torah. For Yahshua declared, on the third day I shall get up. And he got up. He got up from under the most debilitating bondage that one could ever wrestle with, by the power of the Torah. So the Torah gives us the buoyancy and the power to get up from under the crushing blows of the world. We are free, Yisrael. We are not bound. It is Yah's certificate of his betrothed unto Yisrael that we are his brides. But he has given us a writing of a document that declares that we are embedded in his bosom. This is the certificate of our assurance that we are the ones that he has set forth his excellence upon. And she is a beautiful bride. She is one that has the excellence of Yah's tifra. She is beautiful. She is excellent. Her stride is one of purity. The only thing we must do is believe and have confidence in what he says. And don't doubt Yisrael. Despite what the enemy tries to do to our minds, we simply do not doubt Yah. Regardless of the circumstances that may arise to try to plunder our minds and our hearts, to turn away from the order of the Torah, we do not give in to that. We hold fast to that. We eat the bread, the lecture that Yah has sent down. Not that our forefathers ate and they are dead. We eat the living Torah. They had the writing of the Torah. Yet Yah has placed it in the bosom of Yisrael. When the testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach is revealed unto us, we become that lively stone. Then only we know how to offer up the living sacrifice unto Yah, because there's the life of this testimony in us. Not this damn twisted, damn dead mess we learn under the bosom of the whore, sucking on her teeth. This false reality of the Eduth of Yah, but his testimony is real. As the old Kiddushin would say, the more I talk about him, the happier I get. And the more real he becomes to us. It is almost like an idea that one plants in one's mind. It will never come to fruition unless one talks about it and embraces that. In their mind, ponder it and meditate it upon it day and night. Yahshua will never be a reality in us unless we ponder him and talk about him and experience him to know the power of Almighty Yah. We can never experience the depths of Yah nor the power of Yah without the living testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach. And as long as we traverse and walk in sin, in rebelliousness against the Torah of Yah, we will never experience the dynamics of that power. So Yah wants us to learn of him, to learn his ways, to be taught the ways of Yah, that will give us sufficient strength for the great battle that is ahead. I say to us all, Yisrael, we are what the Torah calls del. We're thin because our rations are thin. We eat thin. When a man, his rations are thin, in the physical sense he becomes thin. his physical stature becomes thin. It illuminates what he is digesting and eating or internalizing. So it is with us as YisraYah. We have become dull. We have become poor. We have become thin. We have become weak. We don't have the strength or the assurance of the Torah, because we're feeding our spiritual man every kind of twisted, damnable trash that will not promote growth, but sickness and diseases of our labor, our minds, and our living. That when we began to eat on some of the simplicity of the enriching or the enrichment of the Torah of Yah, we become sick. We become despondent. We don't like that. We want to reject that. It is not of our palates. We don't care for the savor of it, the taste, because we're used to eating those things that cater to our will, our flesh, and we have become dull. We have become thin. Our minds, our labor doesn't even emanate the power of Yahshua HaMashiach. And so when you become thin, your walk is not one of strength. You don't walk in the light of the Torah. Your walk is not strong. You can tell a man that is deficient of the proper vitamins. You can tell the Bath, the daughter of Zion, whose mind is not nourished in the chatzveh of Yah, in her walk, in her stride, her principles, the way she lives, the way she acts. You can tell that. And if your mind is not sensitive to that, you cannot discern that, then what kind of helper are we to our brother, our ach, and our achot? We're not worth a damn thing at all, Yisrael. We have no value. And until we come to the reality of the stakes of whom I am, we will never move beyond the place and progress progressively. That is what the shachal of Yah is. His prosperity, that we progress. Our minds progress. Our thoughts progress in the meditation of the Torah. As we study, as we lahag, as we meditate, we can see it in the countenance of YisraYah. You can tell a man that is dull, or he is a man that is oni, he is poor. His ruach is poor. He has nothing to nourish him, that he may be a valiant man. That he show forth the gabah, the strength, the fortitude, the integrity, the tenacity, what the Torah commands us. Yah says to you, Yahshua, he says, be strong and be of great courage, and don't relent because of the wicked one. For as I was with Moshe, so shall I be with you. Send the man that you're with today, send him. You will know him, for he will declare the power of Torah, in the sense that the opposition of Yah is revealed in every man, every woman, every child's bosom. As we oppose Yah, we're seeking our own, are we not? Sure we are. We don't give a damn. We have been trained not to give a damn about anyone. Our home environments have taught us that. And so we have a greater affection for our natural sons and daughters than we do for the house of Yisrael. He never commanded us that. Upon the foundations of the principles of Yah, to have him with all, and to have your Reah YisraYah as yourself, when he commands you. Upon these two pillars of foundation hinge the power of Torah. And we will never operate in the strength of Torah, because the whore has trained us to be whorish, to be unfaithful. And we are unfaithful unto Yah. You think these two large canines we have here will have a commitment to one canine if we bring her here? They will fight over her. And everyone that you bring in, they will fight over each of them. And we have gone the way of the Caleb, the dog. We eat any damn thing, a dog will eat his own puke. I watched it too many times. It will regurgitate it and eat it right up. Some of the most horrendous odors. I've watched the ones I've had. I've never seen one that I've owned did not regurgitate and lick it up. Never seen that. And same thing with the cows and the goats of the field as they exchange from one stomach to the next. They throw it up and they eat it. And that's what we are doing. We're throwing up some of the most filthiest vile off the tables of demonic powers, and we're eating that. YisraYah, I come to declare unto us today by the Raah of Yah, that is, we make preparation for the season that is ahead. I want to assure you with one thing. Do not allow the delusion of this most vile, corrupt, wicked nation draw you under her seduction to make you think that it's going to be well. It is not going to be well, YisraYah. The only well-being that YisraYah shall find is that we find ourselves given over unto the principles of the Torah. Gas may be $10 a gallon in London today, but it's coming to your shores as well. And they're going to ration out the foods whether you buy it or not. Whether you receive it or not. And it's one thing what the whore has done from our birth. She has taught us not to give a damn about anyone. So it is a complex thing in our minds, in our ruach, to alter this damnable principle, this most damnable twisted principle, to even care about anyone. We don't give a damn. So when one really cares about what there is a blossoming of one true thing. For truly, as Yahshua said, my fellowship is with the Abba and with his son. And if we, the people of YisraEl, the Raah of Yah dwells in us, and the power of the testimony of Yahshua, then truly, our fellowship is among the elect of YisraEl, his people. We love the wicked and the wickedness of the world, don't we? It is truth, my young ach. I will not hold back anything. I am a pit bull. No, I retract that. I'm a Rottweiler. I like Rottweilers. Pit bull is tougher than a Rottweiler. It will kill it. Sure it is. But I like the massive size of the Rottweiler. That's what I like. I like the propensity, the nature. So we must, I said to Ach, YHWH, I said, you know my Ach, one of the most tenacious beasts in the wilderness, it is not the lion, and although he is the most ferocious carnivora, he doesn't dig for berries. He eats meat. But one of the most tenacious beasts is the hyena. The hyena. That the power of his pressure, his jaws, is much greater per square inch than any beast. It breaks the bones where the lions cannot break the bones. But it does. It breaks every bone and get the marrow of the bone for the purpose of that nutrients for strength in its own bones. And Yah did not allow the bones of Yahshua to be broken for our sake, that it will not lose the strength. We're laying hold on to everything but Yahshua. And the reason I will express in this teaching today, we think that we are Yah, we think that we have experienced Yah. And the word yada, to know, it implies that we must confess the power of our Abba, not just in a verbal state of consciousness, but in the way we live, the way we act. There must be a testimony. It is a mind that studies the Torah. It is a mind that meditates and emphasizes the Torah. That is the only way you're going to yada. I said to my it's one thing that Evangelist Hartsfield taught me. It was very important in my youthful days. He was talking to me one day and he says to me, do you know this person? Do you know this one? My conversation said, I know the president of that nature. That is what my reply was. And he says to me, Brother Roberts, you don't know. In order to know someone, there is an intimacy, there's a relationship. One is in one's bosom, there is some form of contact. He say, I prefer you sin you know of. And from that moment, he never had to instruct me in that matter again. Because there are those that will write to me, call me, and ask me, do you know this preacher? No, I don't know the man personally. I know of him. I have heard of him. I have heard testimonies about the man. But to have a personal relationship with the man, I don't know him. And so our relationship with Yah, it is not one based upon his personal agenda. And the only way we're going to know that is through the power of the testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach. And so his testimony is of no relevance unto Yisrael. It is of no value in our bosom, so we don't know him. When one or a thing has value and personal value to you, you want to know that individual. You want to associate with that person. You want to find yourself in a position that there is interaction with the individual. Do we find that time for Yah that there's interaction? Do we find that for the power of his testimony that we interact with Yah? We better get real. We can be all the pretenders all we want to, but it doesn't mean a damn thing. We're constantly reminded, as the old adage or the proverb among the Kedoshim, that as Zachem Benamin reminds us, that 99.5 just will not do. You understand that is an adage among the elders, or those that when we were growing up, we would hear them say that. What they were saying, you must be Tomim. We must be complete. And he has given us YisraYah. He has given us this time to get complete, perfect, whole. That our minds are whole in truth. Our bosom and our thoughts are based upon the foundational principles of Almighty Yah. And yet we are a deranged people. We're not complete. We're not Tomi. We're not whole. We're not perfect. And he commands us to be ye perfect, as I am complete. And yet we continue to plotter along and think that, to hell with what he says, I just don't give a damn. You don't express that with your verbiage. We express it in our action, our deeds and our ways, and the way we handle Yah, the way we handle truth. That is how we express that.